Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Unsurmountable. This is a little wallet game from Button Shy. It's a solitaire game, as it says, solo game there. And in this one, you have a small deck of cards, 18 cards or so, and you are going to be utilizing those as they come up and you can draft them to build a mountain. You are going to be trying to build a path from the very bottom level all the way up to the peak of the mountain. If you manage to do so, you're going to win the game. But of course, there's going to be some puzzliness along the way. You have to, decide where you can play what, how you do it. The cards are not going to come up in the perfect order, so you need to trigger abilities to manipulate those things. That's the idea here. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the game works. I'll show you on the table here, and then we'll come on back. I'll tell you if I think this one is another winner from Button Shy Games. To set up the game, we're going to shuffle up the deck of cards. We're going to reveal 5 of them over here. That is base camp there. And then we put the helicopter aside as well, which has a special ability. We're going to have access to this one time in the game. So, a couple of things I want to explain here about base camp. So, base camp over here, this is the first card. And these, the ones after the first card, are what we refer to as ability cards in the game. What we're trying to do is build a mountain with 4 cards across the base, then 3, then 2, then 1 at the top. And I need a path that enters from below the very first level of the mountain and continues all the way to the very top card. It doesn't need to come out of the top of the card. It just needs to achieve that card, make it onto that card. If I do that, I win the game. And so on my turn, I am going to do one of 2 things, basically. I can add to the mountain, or I can discard for an ability. And then once that's done, I'm going to refill the base camp. So adding to the mountain is very simple. I can only do so with the first card. So I would take this card, I would put it here as the first card on the bottom row. In this game, once I've done one, then anything later on that gets added is going to have to be added to the sides of something already there, or above 2 cards, like this, assuming, of course, that there are 2 below to support that card, okay? So my very first play, then, is playing this card out as the very first card of the mountain. Everything shifts over, and we reveal a new card. My other option, instead of now taking the first card and putting it out, which I could very well do, is to trigger an ability on one of these other cards over here. I would read the card, I would trigger the ability, I would discard that card, and then again, these things shift, and I reveal a new one. Or I can use the helicopter card, like I said, once per game. This one happens to say, remove this card from the game to choose a card in base camp, which is this entire thing, and place it at the bottom of the deck. So it's an escape, safety valve kind of thing. One time I can get something out of there because I really need this to look different down here. So I've done that, and so let's say, for example, I'm okay with putting this card out, so I'll go ahead and put that out. Boom, like so. Shift these over. Again, don't forget that when I take one that is the very first spot and I put it out, I'm ignoring the ability. Next up, I might do this one here. So far, so good. This one could go right there. And so as you see, I have a path going here. Any breaks in the path, by the way, are merely visual. They don't, at least at this level of play, they don't mean anything. There is a connection here all the way up here. And now it goes that way. So I'm probably going to want to enhance this mountain this way. I'm just, I don't have to decide where the limits are until they're there. I could add cards here or here, but I'm probably going to want to grow this way because of the way the path is working out. So I would shift these over like so. And then I've got this card right here. I might trigger a power just for the sake of the example here. So let's say, what have I got? This one says, draw a card from the deck and remove it from the game. Do not use its ability. I don't want to do that. Reduce the size of base camp by 1. That's also not great. Take a card from the mountain. Place that card. Let me see. Take a card from the mountain. Place that card in another valid location on the mountain so I can move one around. Take it in the mountain somewhere and move it somewhere else that's valid. That's pretty good. That's a good ability. I've got this one over here that says choose a card from the mountain and remove it from the game. Do not use its ability. So that lets me get out of a jam. If I got into a jam, I could just do this. Put that there. Keep these moving. And so that's basically what I'm doing. And again, this is basic play, okay? What I'm showing you right now here is basically level 1. That's what they call it. It does go up from there. Right now, I don't necessarily want to put this here because that's going to be a problem. So I'm trying to look for one that comes in this side and goes up. Maybe something like this one here. So I could draw a card. No, I could, if I had one of these powers that let me, move these around or something, maybe I would end up with this one at the front, and then this one ideally would go there. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And again, this is all, I'm just kind of grabbing cards and doing whatever, but I'm showing you the idea here is to have a path that goes and eventually up to the very tippy top card with 4, 3, 2, and then 1 at the top. Now, like I said, basic introductory scenario. You can kick up the difficulty in this game, and the way you do that is, well, there's different levels. So level 2 is very simple. Level 2 says, instead of having 5 cards down here at base camp, you have 4. There's only ever 4 cards at base camp. You can play this one, or you can trigger the abilities on these. So that's level 2. Obviously, it's going to make the game harder. Level 3 says, keep that. But now, every line that you put out here must have a different symbol. Every card in that row must have a different symbol. So far, so good. I'm actually doing it right here. I have a little mountain, a little yeti, water symbol. This is camp and water. There's a little tree. So I'm good. But if I double up with something, then I'm in trouble, right? So I can't say this would be okay here, but I couldn't play this one here because there's 2 camps in this level. And that would be not a winning layout. So that's level 3. Then level 4 says you have to do that thing also, but along the sides. There's a level 5. So there are things you can do to make the game harder for yourself, whereas the first level is fairly easy. It's one that, I won the first time out. You can definitely start changing that up, and you're going to have an interesting puzzly challenge facing you immediately, and lots to think about, lots to manipulate. You also need to be mindful, of course, of these cards running out because, well, you'll lose if you can't finish it. And that's going to be it. That's how the game works out. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Is this another winner? I was asking that question. Is this another winner from Button Shy Games? And the answer is a resounding and very simple yes. Yes, it is. I think this is a very good little solitaire game. It manages to do something fun. Something not incredibly innovative or mind-blowing, but you know what? I hesitate to request that in a game that comes with 18 cards. Innovation is good up to a point. After that, it just becomes obtuse, especially, again, when this is as much playroom as they've got. I think this one is super fun. It's really engaging. It's a game you can pull out of your pocket, and if you have a little bit of space, you can get playing immediately. I really enjoyed it. I think this is one of those time killers that will take you 10, 15 minutes that works just so well. And it's exactly the kind of thing I want from Button Shy Productions. They've got an idea, and this is one of those that fits that idea to a T. I really like it. I like the difficulties as well. I really enjoy the idea of making the game a little easier, a little harder for yourself. You can change up that with just rules, not components. You can say, oh, this is a little extra thing you need to accomplish in order to be satisfactory in your win now. And I think that's a good way to do that. I could see the game getting a little bit stale again. It is 18 cards, and so you'll see some of the powers. There's also a few powers in there, as you saw, actually, they ended up coming up in the overview, which are generally negative powers. They are remove a card from the deck, don't trigger the ability. Things that that are tricky to manipulate so that they are beneficial, I guess is what I'm saying. You can do it, and you can find a situation in which something that sounds fully negative will be an advantage. But if you end up getting a bunch of those, like kill a card in the deck and don't trigger anything, remove a card from here and don't trigger anything, if you have too many of those, I just feel like they're not really giving you forward progress, they're more subtle than that, then you start getting that choked up, I don't really have any good choices feeling. And this game could very well lead to that moment of, well, I guess I lost. This shuts down my last path over here. I'm not going to get through, I think. And I'm not seeing any way to switch cards or anything. but that's rare. The game works really well. I've enjoyed it a lot. So for me, this one's going to get a solid 8 out of 10. If you are someone who enjoys solo games of this ilk, quick, pocket-sized, 10, 15 minutes, then this is a fantastic pickup. They've done it before. Bud & Shy has done it before. This is another, feather in their cap, in my opinion. So Unsurmountable gets the thumbs up from me. There you go, folks. That's going to do it for me. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Z Garcia, and I'm going to see you on the next one.